Is there a distinction between use and abuse?
How are you able to get out of the mindset of use and into the mindset of self-giving?
I think there's an overlap with the conversation we'll have in terms of justice, where I believe justice really revolves around relationships.
Why Serviam is because it's right.
Yeah.
I think it's the correct order and speaks to the correct hierarchy of how we aim to conduct ourselves and how we deal with clients and ourselves, our own relationship with money, that there is a proper order.
Welcome to the Ordered Life podcast, where we talk about how to integrate the virtues into our life and our finances. My name is Anthony De Lazzari, Administrative Assistant.
Sean Gregory, Portfolio Manager.
AJ Sanson, Associate Investment Advisor.
We're with Serviam Capital at iPrivate Wealth, and our goal is to serve you so that your finances may serve your goals and your goals may serve the good. You have a hairstylist, not a barber?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, interesting. Wow. Coming from the corporate world.
I guess so.
Yeah. Okay, so should we talk about why Serviam quickly?
Yeah, why Serviam? Anthony, why Serviam? You have thoughts.
Okay, so in our intro podcast, we talked about these different levels of purpose that a person can have. The first one just being for fun, so they end up using things for that end of fun. The second to do good, but you still end up, as AJ pointed out, using people and using things to do good. Does that part make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the notes, we have the example of somebody who donates a lot of money. That is a good thing to do, but they can still have used people to get that money. They could have, created a place with a bad work culture, whatever it is. Or somebody who just keeps their family.
Is there a distinction between use and abuse? Right? Because it immediately connotates something negative to me, but does it have to always be negative?
Well, see, but and that's what I mean. How are you able to get out of the mindset of use and into the mindset of self-giving? Because I think that would be what it is. Thomas Aquinas, who said, love is the choice to will the good of the other as other. I think that's the only way to get into a Serviam mindset. Like, that's what my point is about, like, the importance of Serviam.
No, but let me counter that with someone is being mean to you and you're going to use them to be super charitable and grow in holiness in that way. And that's your path to heaven.
But charity is still self-giving, right? Like, you're dying to
but you're using this person doing something negative to you or whatever it is. You're using someone who's poor to give them money so that you can give it away.
But it's to a different end, right? Because the end isn't to do good. The end is to love. And in order to love, you have to really go to the other as other. I'd still say if you are going to donate money to a poor person and then post about it on social media, I don't think that's necessarily a good thing to do. Do not let your left hand from what your right hand is doing.
Like, that's virtue signaling, isn't it?
That's
different.
Right? No, that's
look how good, but you're actually
from.
just doing this quote unquote good for the sake of the attention that serves self.
Exactly. Even in that case, you're using what society sees
But even that,
as good.
that I would say that's abuse, right?
Yes.
Because that's a negative use. But
Yes.
you could still use this opportunity in a positive way.
But
I'm not necessarily arguing this because
Yeah.
I think this is correct. I'm just interested.
I'm with you. I just think that in order to use things properly, you have to come from a place of love, and that's what that third purpose, that highest purpose, is, to have a relationship with good itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so how about this then? So service, we think, is the proper orientation.
Yes.
Maybe the distinction then is that you're prioritizing that other person first, right? So even if you are using someone to a good end, you're still thinking of yourself first.
Yeah.
It's still very much self-centered around you.
Yeah.
Whereas putting yourself second, putting that other person first, is then you now have become subservient. You are now at the service of this other person. And so maybe that's the distinction.
I think there's an overlap with the conversation we'll have in terms of justice, where I believe justice really revolves around relationships. So in essence, if we're left to our own devices, we're making decisions that only serve ourselves. But justice is really care for the other individuals more so than ourselves. And so I see Serviam is an element to prioritize others for the good.
Yeah.
As opposed to self for the good.
Yeah. And I think that's the point that gets made when you have the quote, love is the choice to will the good of the other as other. Because as this is what JP2 says about that quote. If I'm somebody who wills the good of wills the good of other for self, then I'm using that person. So the opposite of love is not hate, willing the bad of another, but it's actually also use, willing the good of self. Or willing the good of other for self, I think, is still a form of use. Because it's not, I'm willing the good for you as you, I'm willing the good for you as it benefits me. So I'll only do it insofar as it benefits me. So it's not able to be that full giving. And obviously, if we're talking about the ordered life, we're trying to aspire to like the highest possible greatness. And so if yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's interesting that you came to the conclusion that justice is about relationships, because I did not at all.
No, it is. And even in Thomas Aquinas' Summa, when I was reviewing for the notes, yeah, it's 100% about relate. And that was like the first objection. It would seem that whatever, and then it's like, no, like straight out of the box, Thomas Aquinas is like, it 100% has to do with others.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's too limiting.
Really?
Yeah, I think the virtue applies to far more than just relationships.
Okay, in what way?
So if I were to boil it down, in like trying to think about this podcast, I was thinking, what would I boil justice down to? And I think it boils down to doing the right thing for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Because if prudence is using right reason to take right action,
Yeah.
justice, I think, is the virtue that's going to tell you what is the right way to do, or not to do something, but the right thing that you should do. Right? So what is the right way to have a relationship with someone? It's to will the good of the other, right?
Yeah.
Like that is the proper order. It is to put the other person first.
Yeah.
It is to be in service. But I think you can extend that beyond just relationships.
In what way?
Let's bring it to finance.
Finance or anything. Because I think that you can't, as social beings, we can't get away from relationships. And when we say relationships, I don't mean strictly just with people. And we'll stress test this in a minute when you talk about finance. Because if we're coming from this conception that money is a placeholder, it's a means to an end, then properly ordered, any use of money is going to be relational because it's going to be used in relation to something.
So sure. So in like to some degree, it's all circular, and you can always bring it back to a relationship. So to some degree,
everything is related. Yeah.
So yeah, that's true. But in a more practical sense, in a very more specific sense, I think you can still use the virtue of justice for how you conduct yourself in every area of life, whether it can be directly tied to some relationship or not. So for instance, like a sub-virtue of justice is this idea of diligence and duty. And so if a person, like in the financial realm, if a person is trying to think about how do I live out the virtue of justice with my money, I think you ask yourself the question of not what do I want to do, but what ought I to do? Yeah. What should I do?
Yeah.
And sure, you could eventually say, yes, you should use it for the good of others, this and that. But I think it in its more basic sense, you could say that using the virtue of justice is trying to answer that question of what is the right thing for me to do here.
But I think particularly it would have to be with others then, right? Because even like Edward III says that justice is the
virtue. Here, let me give you another example then.
Yeah.
So I think it is just to consider how you should spend your money well.
Yes.
As opposed to spend your money wastefully.
I'd say it's more prudent though. Just to be how like you spend your money in relation to others.
No, I don't think it's necessarily prudence. Because prudence is dictating the course of action.
Yeah.
Right? If I want to waste my money, I can think of the most reasonable way to waste my money.
Yeah.
But that's not just to do that.
Yeah. You need
it's an injustice.
Yeah, you need all of the four cardinal virtues in order to have like a unity within them.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I think about this idea of spending well. And there's obvious ways that we can not spend well or spend wastefully. But there's also ways that we hold on to our money, right? That we don't spend when we should have. It was just to spend on this thing.
Yeah.
So for instance, let's say my fireplace at home needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
And
Does it really?
I just went through a flood, so
everything needs to be fixed.
Everything needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
My fireplace at home, hypothetically, needs to be fixed. And I'm going to cheap out. Yeah. I'm not going to spend the money. I'm going to do it myself. I can figure it out.
Yeah.
But of course, I have no experience doing this. I shouldn't do this. I put my family at risk doing this because maybe I don't install the gas lines correctly. Maybe I'm not, it's not to code. Things are going to fall out. Dealing with heat and fire. I should have spent that money.
Yeah.
To bring in someone with expertise.
Yeah.
I should have paid this person a fair wage. And now that's the relationship part you're talking about.
Yeah.
But even before that, I had to make a decision whether to spend my money well. Yeah. And it was just for me to spend it well to let it go for good reason, as opposed to thinking I'm just going to keep this money myself for bad reasons.
Yeah.
And I think it is a crime against justice to do that.
And
I'd agree.
And especially like with the contrast you had mentioned that there can be an element of just hoarding money, and there's an injustice there, especially if you don't need it.
Yeah.
Like you have more than you actually need, but you just are satiating this element that it makes me feel comfortable knowing that I have this element of security, that I'm okay financially.
Yeah.
I also think I love how you mentioned spending money well. I think like in the context of us being fathers, or all three of us gentlemen being part of families, and especially given this time of year, to spend well when we go on vacation.
Yeah.
Not saying that you should be extravagant about it, but an element of spend the money well is because there are attributes for relationships and creating stronger relationships with your children, especially us having young children, knowing these are milestone events, to spend it well as opposed to cheap out.
Yeah.
It could, like, I think of like the context of just eating out. Like, Dad, I'd like to have whatever hamburger. Like, no, you should choose the hot dog because it's cheaper. Like these elements of being prudent, but also, justice, knowing that we're on vacation to spend well as well.
Yeah.
Well, I just told you guys a story about how my family and I went down to Oregon and we visited the Tillamook cheese factory.
Good cheese, shout out Tillamook.
Yeah. And my wife bought a kite in the shape of a giant block of cheese. And my first reaction was, this is ridiculous. Why would you waste money on a giant cheese kite?
Why wouldn't you spend money on a giant cheese kite?
Well, AJ, that was the correct question, it turns out.
Yeah.
Because we were flying this thing. And first of all, I would not have guessed that a cheese-shaped kite would fly well, but it flew amazingly well. It brought joy to me to see this thing in the air, brought joy to the children. People walking down the beach were taking pictures. They would stop and laugh at, like, this ridiculous
good
thing.
thing.
It was
It's
such a good
Yeah.
purchase, a good way to spend our money. Even, like, my first reaction, though, was this is absolutely a waste of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was definitely a just purchase, but you wouldn't say it was prudent.
Yeah.
Unless you were thinking
unless
about
like you absolutely knew what was going on in the future, yeah.
Right.
And I think like where you see virtue lacking, where you see both those things lacking, because justice is obviously how we relate to others, and then prudence is, right reason, discerning right action. So it's knowing something good, doing something good. The absolute absence of those two virtues is the parents let their kids go into the toy store and say, buy whatever you want. And it's just continuous that happening. So because I had to go and buy a Lego set for my girlfriend's younger brother a couple weeks back. And yeah, there was a kid just wailing in the Walmart. And the parents just didn't know how to handle it. It's like, hey, like, I get being a parent is tough. This is coming from a 22-year-old who's not married. But
you were a kid at one point.
No, I am a kid at one point. And I've had this, like, I've thought about this. Like, my mom was really good at, like, we had nice toys that we enjoyed. They weren't cheap toys. Like, we'd get, like, a good Lego set. But it's like, if you want something, when's your birthday? When's Christmas? Or do you have your own money to spend on it? Because it's like, if you have good things, so learn how to use them well. And I think we can sometimes fall into like these two extremes of, on the one end, well, I want something, but I can't afford it, therefore I have to work for it. Or I want something and I can't afford it, therefore I can buy it. But this via media of justice and prudence is, well, I want something and I can afford it, but do it, like, why do I want it? Is it just to want it? And that's obviously what we'll get into in our next podcast with temperance.
Here's a question for you guys, and I'm half joking with this. Is it, and this happened recently with me and my children, is it an injustice to my children to bring them into a toy store and walk out with nothing?
It would be an injustice if you put the precedence that they're going to buy something and not.
Yeah.
But if you set the precedence...
Because I know who would disagree with you. My children.
Yeah, 100%. And I've been in that position before where it's like, can we go to the toy store? Because like I know what I was doing as a kid. It's like, I'm thinking if I go into the toy store and we see toys and my mom sees me happy at
you can persuade your mom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, my mom was an absolute hardball. And I am so grateful for it now because my siblings and I think, have a very good relationship with money in terms of how we conceptualize things. Obviously, yeah, I'm working with you guys. And a huge part of our paradigm is, money is a means to an end. And I think thanks to how my mom raised me, that message fit really, really well. But I also see other people how money maybe wasn't taught in that same way. And you'll have friends who are missing birthday parties to get $100 working. It's like that's not just, right? It's like you've been friends with some people for 6-7 years and you're not going to their birthday party because you want to make an extra $150 and like you didn't have the courage to take that time off. Like those sorts of things.
So I'm coming back to this question of why Serviam?
Yeah.
And why I suggested, I think this is appropriately part of the Justice podcast.
I would say so, yeah. I think it's a good kind of segue because depending on the release schedule of these podcasts, this could be a very good loop back to that first episode.
But like the answer to the question is why Serviam is because it's right.
Yeah.
I think it's the correct order and the correct hierarchy or it speaks to the correct hierarchy of how we aim to conduct ourselves and how we, like when we deal with clients and ourselves, our own relationship with money, that there is a proper order.
Yeah. We put ourselves at the service of clients.
Yeah.
Is that the tagline?
And we help our clients.
Okay.
Part of it, yeah.
And we help our
Is that
clients.
the tagline?
Of the podcast or the business.
Oh, it's like every marketing material will have that tagline.
Yeah. We put ourselves at the service of clients.
Yeah.
We hope that our clients
Put their money at the service of your goals.
Yeah.
And your goals should be at the service of what's important in your life. Living out the virtues.
Yeah.
Living a good life. Living an ordered life. All of those things.
Of your purpose. And we believe, the highest purpose in order to use everything well and to put everything into its proper place, into its ordered place, is through a paradigm of service, of wanting to give of myself, of wanting to give without giving or give without wanting anything in return, to love as one the good of the other as other.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to fall into this mindset of use.
Yeah. And the other, I think, really important thing about the hierarchy is that you see money is at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then also that your goals are not at the top. That your goals should still be at the service of some higher purpose, which I think people also forget.
Yeah, no, that's true. That is true. On that note, I have a question. Meaning, if it is my goal in life to become a millionaire, is it possible to not use my work, my coworkers, my resources to get to that point and to have a mentality of use to get to that material end goal of being a millionaire?
Yeah, it's 100% possible.
Yeah. If
it's all about intention. I think it lives within you.
Yeah, the underlying why.
Yeah.
If it's to be a millionaire for the sake of being a millionaire, I mean, that's essentially, it can delve into the element of, well, I just want to accomplish this for myself because of my own pride.
Yeah.
I mean, if to your underlying why and the intention is like, well, why a million? What is it? What's the end goal with that? Can really bring about good.
Yeah. And the idea is not the result. The idea is that the path you took to get there. And if someone could end up with a very small amount of money and they used everyone along the way.
Yeah, that is true.
So it's all within you. It's all about how you see yourself in relation to others and the way you live your life and your actions in relation to others and your intention with those other people. Did you come first, or were you always striving to put that other person ahead of you?
I like the saying, it's not about how much you have, but how well you use it, or something of that sort. Maybe not that. Edit that out.
No. I like that, AJ. That's like the best thing you said so far. That was great.
It's the best thing you said all year.
Well, no. Maybe edit that out back in.
edit out the edit out.
Edit out.
I've never seen Sean laugh this hard.
I was like, no, that doesn't sound right.
No,
It was something like it sounded a lot more beautiful when I first heard a variation of it.
Yeah, something. One of those sayings, like it's not about the destination, it's what the friends you made along the way, or something.
There you go.
Don't cry because it's over. Laugh because it happened, or smile because it happened. Yeah. So AJ, words of wisdom.
That's all I have.
Yeah.
It was a moment.
Do we leave anything out for justice, for why Serviam?
I mean, it leads quite well into temperance too, because I mean, with that toy analogy, it's an exercise in practicing the virtue of temperance.
Yeah.
It's like with my kids.
Hey, save it for the temperance.
Oh,
Yeah,
what do you
exactly.
think? Okay, we'll say, all right.
We'll leave it. You know, we'll leave this
it as
one.
a teaser.
We'll
Okay.
leave this on a cliffhanger, and our next episode, which maybe we'll hope to release very shortly after this one, will be on temperance. Thank you for listening. I'm Anthony.
I'm Sean.
I'm AJ.
What a way to end it.
This podcast has been prepared by Sean Gregory, who is a portfolio manager, and AJ Sanson, who is an associate investment advisor for IA Private Wealth Inc. Opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the portfolio manager and investment advisor only and do not necessarily reflect those of IA Private Wealth Inc. IA Private Wealth Inc. is a member of the Canadian Investor Protection Fund and the Canadian Investment Regulatory Organization. IA Private Wealth is a trademark and business name under which IA Private Wealth Inc. operates.